Okay, so you're probably familiar with Dalen. He's been popping off on YouTube in the sort of like entrepreneurial space, but what you probably don't know is that he's funneling a lot of this attention into a free Skool community, and he's actually planning on monetizing this free Skool community soon. So what I've pretty much done here is I've spoken to the guys who are helping him monetize his Skool community and the guys who've actually helped him build his free Skool community, and I've broken down the whole entire thing right here. So I really went through everything. I spoke with the guys, I broke down his free Skool community, I broke down how he's getting traffic, what tricks he's kind of using, different things. I mean, with this kind of like funnel, it really comes down to the details. Even things like implementing a playlist in some sorts of areas, it's a pretty deciding factor in how he builds his personal brand and the way that he's building it. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the whole entire thing for you guys, how he's getting traffic, how he's generating interested leads, and how he's planning on converting these interested leads into paying customers for probably what's going to be a high ticket offer, which is 100%, I can say this with 100% certainty. If he launches a high ticket offer this week, next month, he's going to make millions every single year. So let's just get straight into it. And for the people who don't already know who Dalen is, I'm going to quickly go over that right here. So Daniel grew up in the Netherlands, but spent a lot of time in China due to his dad's job. And Daniel realized the importance of the Chinese market, right? He realized the importance of e-commerce because his dad was in that sort of like space. So he started learning Chinese, Mandarin, Cantonese, and he can pretty much speak all of these languages fluently now. He also started entrepreneurship at a pretty young age. When he was 16, he started creating websites online, and he made his first 100,000 euros in profit selling websites. And 10 years later, he pretty much owns multiple companies now. He's done multiple exits, and he's doing like 8 figures every single year. When he was 23, he exited his first company, and he even posted about it on Twitter. And that should pretty much give you a good backstory of where he was before. And now he's running 3 companies, which are all kind of like in the e-com area. So we have Ecom Flow, which is pretty much just a supplying chain for e-commerce brands. There's Blank Studios, which is just building software companies. And there's Packaging by Ecom Flow, which is packaging orders in China for different e-commerce brands and getting their orders out quicker and just giving them a better experience, right? And because these are mainly Asia located regions that he's running the companies in, his Chinese, Mandarin, and Cantonese is pretty much playing a really big role in his success, and it's giving him a really big advantage towards all the other competitors, right? So let's go over the 3-step process which Daniel's using to pretty much get to the success and to get to the point where he has a free Skool community with like 10,000 members in it, and how he's going to be funneling that into a multi-million per year high ticket offer. So let's start off with getting traffic. That's pretty much getting all the people to see all of his content, what he's doing, getting to know, like, and trust him. Then there's generating interest leads, which is pretty much taking all of the guys who are seeing him and getting them to join this free Skool community and converting interested leads. And I'm not 100% sure on this step, but it might also help you. Maybe if you are running a high ticket offer, you can kind of see what he's going to do and just kind of what my predictions are of what he's going to do for the last step in terms of what he's going to build and just something along those lines. So let's start off with getting traffic. And the first thing that I want to bring up here is his life itself, because he clearly has a really big advantage, right? He's doing business in places like Hong Kong, China. He's working on the 100th floor of a building, and 2 seconds later he's working the first class seat. And I think that that's pretty much every entrepreneur's dream, right? And it's also pretty cool just to kind of visualize what it could kind of look like in the future if you're, let's say, a beginning entrepreneur. And I don't know if Daniel's doing this intentionally, but throughout all of his videos, he's constantly dropping little nuggets. So let's say you're a beginner entrepreneur, which I would just assume is most of his audience. You can pretty much watch a really entertaining video while getting a lot of value from it. And I think that's a really cool thing for a lot of new entrepreneurs. And I think that's also a really big reason why so many new entrepreneurs and even just entrepreneurs in general watch him, because it's kind of just like visualizing, right? But how does he really keep his viewers hooked onto his content, right? Well, first of all, one thing that Daniel's done really well is defining his niche and value proposition, right? So what is he good at? Business. What does he love? Business and making connections. And what does the world need? business content from someone who's actually running a business, right? And this is pretty much just helping him narrow his focus, right? So let's get into the content here, because he has all of these things down. So what is he really doing differently in the content? Well, first of all, his personal story, and again, this is a very clear advantage which Daniel has to all of his competition. His personal story can really relate to a lot of the people watching his content, because, you know, he dropped out of high school, he felt misunderstood, he felt lonely, and I feel like that resonates with a lot of different entrepreneurs around the world who watch his content. Then he has a really consistent brand image and message. And if you're kind of keeping up with Daniel's content, you're probably going to notice 3 different things. First of all, the color orange. He uses the color orange a really big amount. It's his profile picture, he uses it in a lot of his content, some of the subtitles are orange, so he keeps that consistent brand image. He's also using different pretty high quality cameras and camera lenses, which I feel like is also a cool thing. It kind of feels like it's like a high production value. And the last thing is building in public. And this is also something that he's pushing in his Skool community, and he also pushes this in his content. You know, he's always talking about how important it is to kind of be documenting the process, and that's why I think it's really important that he keeps pushing this message, and that's also what his Skool community is about. So it gets a lot easier for him to get these people into his Skool community. And the last thing is that he's focusing on authenticity, and you can really tell when you're watching his content, he really does keep it authentic. He doesn't only show the ups, all the wins, but he also shows the downs sometimes, like maybe when he's feeling a little bit bad or a little bit worse. He's pretty much documenting the whole entire journey, and he's doing this mainly through YouTube, right? So this is his primary platform, and I know he's pretty active on Instagram as well, but most of his content is posted on YouTube. And what he does with that is he repurposes the content onto different social media channels. So first of all, he repurposes it onto Instagram. I know he has a whole entire team behind it, and maybe you've even seen some of Daniel Dalen videos on Instagram Reels. They're pretty nice production quality. I mean, I feel like the editing is pretty well done, right? And when you also notice with most of the Reels there is he's pretty much just saying quotes, and the production quality or the editing is important, of course, but I feel like with that sort of style, what's more important is the actual quote itself. And I feel like that's a pretty important thing and a pretty big advantage in kind of like the entrepreneurial space. And all of this content that he's posting onto Instagram, he's just reposting onto TikTok and YouTube Shorts. So he pretty much has sort of like this content flywheel. And what he's also doing is he's pretty much posting a new video every single week, and it's consistent. Every single Sunday, he lets out a new vlog, right? And what that's doing is it's building a hardcore audience. And what does that mean? Like, what is even this hardcore audience? Well, he's gonna have a certain group of people, and this is also really cool when you're doing a vlogging channel where you're posting every single week at the same time. Every single week, every single Sunday, there's gonna be an amount of people who are guaranteed to show up and watch the video, and that's just building a really hardcore audience. And he's even asking the viewers for help when he's actually trying to post these videos, so that the viewers, they leave kind of like they feel like they've contributed into creating the video, and they'll kind of want to see the video after they've contributed, right? And he's doing this on Twitter, which I think is pretty cool, right? And from here, what he's doing with this hardcore audience, right, it's pretty much promoting premieres on his social media, right? So he's always building up this hardcore audience. Every single week there's a bigger hardcore audience. He's actually engaging with the audience. You can actually DM him, and like, I feel like if your DM is concrete enough, he'll actually respond to you. I've actually messaged him and he responded, so I feel like that's a pretty cool thing. And he's also collaborating with different creators who are also doing something in the same sort of like space, right? And what he's also doing is he's constantly optimizing his audience for growth, right? So he's constantly studying analytics. I know for sure he has a social media team in place. He's paying an agency to repurpose content and to kind of as like a consultant, right? And he's also, and if you're keeping up with the videos, let's say maybe you saw a video from 5 months ago and a video from this week, you're going to notice that he's improving the quality on every single video. And I think that's really important. You know, he's buying new camera lenses, he's doing better editing, the storytelling is a little bit better, the quotes are a little bit better, everything's a little bit better every single week, right? And once he kind of has all of this traffic that's going on to him, right, what he's doing from here is he's generating interested leads for his business, right? He's not converting them yet, but he's getting interested leads for when he does decide to post something. And the way he's doing this is with this super simple call to action right here. And this call to action is pretty much giving the viewers pretty much just like a full list of the companies that he owns and all of his social medias, and just giving them a really good understanding of who he is, right? So first of all, obviously he has his social medias, which he's promoting here. He has the first call to action to his Skool community, which I'm going to get into a second right here because I broke the whole entire thing down for you guys. He's also promoting his businesses, which is pushing his companies first of all and associating him with those sort of like high level companies. And a really smart thing which I feel like he did and not enough people are doing is a playlist on the bottom. And I know what you're probably thinking, like, it's okay, fine, it's a playlist, whatever, cool. But what this is doing is it's adding on to that persona, right? It's matching the persona which he's portraying on the YouTube videos, and it's gaining trust for his brand. It's kind of like creating merch and letting the viewers listen to what he's listening onto a daily basis, the music that he's including in the videos. And even the color orange, which you frequently see, also matters, which I'll get into in just a second. But it's really just kind of like merch, but for like sort of like an entrepreneur. And I feel like it's super important for building trust and making it kind of like seem like an actual person, right? So we have this call to action here, and most of the people are going to be going into his community. And I think last time I checked, his community was at like 8,500 members. It's probably at 9,000 now. So it's pretty cool what he's doing with the free community. And I also, the guy that's building the community, he sent me the video of what they did, and I'm pretty much going to break the whole entire thing down, right? So this is what I got from his team. The first thing that they did was the value and the identity alignment, right? So they built something around the identity of the platform that they were building the community on. And this is really important because the community is going to be hosted on the platform, right? It's going to be hosted on Skool. Skool is the platform that they went with. And the Skool platform, like if you're kind of just taking the core of the Skool platform, it's education, it's democratized, it's knowledge, it's online business. And this is all pretty much matching with Daniel's core, right? What's Daniel's core? Long-term, free, give back, help, document. And this is all kind of aligning with the different kind of like, it's aligning with the Skool community core. And I feel like that's a really important thing, especially if you're building a low ticket community. There's a few different main platforms, right? There's Telegram, there's Skool, there's Discord. I'm pretty sure that Warp just came out with their own platform. There's a bunch of different platforms you can choose with, and it's really important that you can kind of align your identity with the platform that you're building with, right? So let's get into their kind of like the mind map that they created for the Skool with Daniel, right? So the first thing that they wanted to do, like when they were rebuilding it, was have it a little bit clearer structure, because in the very beginning, when there was just 2,000-3,000 members inside of it, it wasn't really clear, like, okay, cool community, what is this about, right? There's also meritocracy, which is just the most dedicated are getting more opportunities, and they're giving out opportunities to people who are active inside of the community, right? So let's say you're oftenly messaging inside of the community, you're getting points inside of the community, they're going to give you more opportunities. This could mean prizes, this could maybe mean pinning your new YouTube video, or whatever this is, but they're just giving more opportunity to the people who are most active, right? It's also kind of giving off the sort of like, I understand your journey, right? He understands that you kind of like, maybe as a beginner entrepreneur, you might feel a little bit lonely, a little bit misunderstood, right? The next thing that they kind of talked about was collaboration. So everyone has different skills and expertise, and they're kind of trying to mix different people's skills and expertise together so that they can really build something great. And the next thing is making business fun, and I feel like his community did a really good job at that. I mean, it's super clear, it all looks super aesthetic, the branding is on point, everything's on point, and it's making business look fun in general, which I feel is a super cool thing to have. The next thing is creating a culture inside of the community, and when you join there, the branding, especially with Dalen, just the branding everywhere, it's on point, right? It's always the color orange, the building in public, all these different things. I feel like it's super important to have that, right? The next thing is building real connections, and it's not just for business, it's also business partners maybe turn into friendships. And I feel like they're doing a really good job at making the community super active, where people can really just build friendships and build real connections with each other, kind of like a little bit of networking sort of thing, right? But how did they figure out what to put into the mind map, right? Like maybe you want to build your own mind map for your own community. What they did is pretty much an in-depth member analysis. And this is also something that I'm doing with all of my clients, all the coaches, creators, and influencers which I'm working with. I always, everything that we launch, maybe low ticket community, high ticket community, whatever you want to launch, you're going to want to do an in-depth market analysis. And I think what Daniel did here is a pretty good example, right? So getting onto calls with people to build an ICP, to understand what the members want so that they can build exactly what the members want. Not what they think the members want, what the members actually want. And if you don't know what an ICP is, it's an ideal customer profile, right? So that's like saying like, okay, my ideal customer is 25 years old, a male, their interests are, I don't know, hockey or whatever, right? Pretty much just building an ideal customer profile. Who would the ideal person be to buy your high ticket program or your low ticket program? And here are the questions that they ask. So they ask about their name, their age, their location, if they have a business, what their desired goals are, what the obstacles they're kind of facing, how did they find Daniel, how did they find the community, what resonated with their content, why did they kind of join the community, any ideas or suggestions to improve the community, is there anything that they wouldn't like to see in the community, and what they think of the quality of the contributions in the community. And of course, if you want to do this for something like, say, a high ticket offer, this is not the questions you should be asking. It really just does depend, but you do want to build that strong ideal customer profile, right? So if you're doing a low ticket community, you could pretty much just ask similar questions to this, right? And the next thing which I want to talk about again is branding. And I know I keep bringing this up, but branding is a really important thing in Daniel's brand, right? And it's really setting him apart from all the other competition with the building in public, people inside the community interacting about the building in public, right? You also notice this with the classroom content, right? He's giving out tips and strategies to building in public. It's pretty much following Daniel's journey on YouTube of building in public and building in public leaderboard, right? So the best people who are building in public, so the best vlogs every single week, they're pretty much getting a leaderboard out of all the videos and they're giving out prizes to the best video in their opinions, right? And most importantly, what I wanted to quickly mention is these community-led calls, right? So Daniel doesn't really have enough time to hop on all these calls. So he found the most qualified members inside of his community to host their own calls. And what he did there is that he's finding, right, he's looking for these qualified people and he's getting them to host calls on their niche, right? So for example, if they're good at sales closing, then they're going to host a call and closing calls, and closing deals. If they're good at building software companies, they might build a call on, I don't know, building a SaaS or whatever they want to do, right? If they're good at building clothing brands, they might want to host a call on building a clothing brand. And I feel like this is a pretty important thing to have right here. And he has 300 plus members posts per month, less than 3% churn, and 50% member engagement with what he's doing here. And this is absolutely insane. So if you're thinking of building a low ticket community or even just a free community, I would recommend copying something like this. And the last step, which I think can be really, really interesting, and this is me kind of just giving my theory out, but how he can pretty much convert these interested leads and turn this into an easily $4 million per year funnel, right? So now Daniel isn't just selling anything right now, right? He's focusing on growing. He's not selling anything right now, but this is kind of like my theory, right? So first of all, he's multiplying Daniel's name and social presence. And what do I mean by this, right? So for example, there's people coming and to his event, right? And they're posting it on their social media and they're pushing Daniel Dalen's name. And from here, well, first of all, there's going to be affiliate deals coming in. For example, he can, on his Skool community, he can push people to join other Skool communities and build their own Skool community. Maybe there is an e-com product for, I don't know, Shopify. He can push that onto his community. He's also building a really big audience waiting for a product to come, which they can buy. And he can partner with different business owners, right, to maybe build something in the future. But the most important thing that I'm seeing here is building an audience waiting for a product. And what he can do here is he can build a high ticket offer. And if you have a niche audience in, let's say, entrepreneurial space, in fact, matter of fact, with all of the clients that I've worked with and everything that I've seen from looking at over 200 high ticket offers, I think every single niche, no matter what sort of creator you are, building a high ticket offer is the way to go. Because let's say that he sells this for, he can easily sell with his niche, he can easily sell for 5K, right? He's selling a high ticket offer for 5K. And realistically speaking, with an audience like his, he can easily sell 100 high ticket offers. Pretty much, he doesn't even need to get on one-on-one calls with him, because I'm pretty sure he has a really tight schedule. But what he can do for his high ticket offer or whatever he wants to sell, he can pretty much get kind of build an inner circle, right? And first of all, these people inside of the community, they can interact more with each other, right? It's more high level people. You're speaking with people who've paid 5K for the community. And also maybe Dalen hosting these community calls, right, inside of the high ticket offer. So it's going to be a lot less people in there. It's maybe 10, 20 people per call, right? Maybe even max 50 people per call. But even with 50 people per call, first of all, the quality of people is going to be much higher. And second of all, it's going to be a lot easier to kind of understand each other and make a conversation happen. And I feel like that could be super cool play, which he could make. And maybe even people inside of his team hopping onto calls. I don't know, maybe one of the managers, how to lead a team. And just kind of a high ticket community for entrepreneurs. And I feel like this is also something that he's going to be doing. I'm 100% sure he's going to expand into a high ticket offer at some point. Okay, so with all of that being said, if you want to implement something that I talked about in this video, or maybe you already have a low ticket or high ticket community and you just want to scale it to the moon, then you can book a call with me. It's going to be a link in the description. It's going to be the first link in the description. It's going to be a 30-minute call, which is not a sales call if that's your expectation. We're just going to be talking about your offer. We're going to be diving a little bit deeper onto what your offer looks like, what scaling could look like. I'll give you a bunch of free source which you can implement in 30-60 minutes, which will definitely 2 to 3 times your revenue. I've done this so many times. I've generated over $600,000 in revenue between all of my clients, and I'll send you the case studies. You can DM me on Instagram. I'll send over all the case studies. But yeah, it's pretty exciting also for me just to connect with a bunch of guys, and at the end of the call, I'll let you know, do I think that I can help you and help you work with you, maybe help you scale it to the moon, maybe just help you get to your desired outcome. And another cool thing is I mainly work on a pay per results basis, right? So it's pretty much just a performance basis which I'm working on, which I feel like not a lot of people are doing in the space right now. So yeah, definitely booking a call with me. You can also just steal everything that we talk about on the call, run away, ghost me, whatever you want to do, right? But it's also just cool for me to connect with different people.